Surprisingly, you don't need all the expensive reptile stuff to care for your reptiles. I am all about keeping it simple. Caring for over 25 rescue reptiles, I have found hacks and ways to keep things a little bit less expensive by avoiding those reptile-oriented products. Here are 8 everyday products that you probably do have in your home, or at least you should get them, especially if you're a reptile keeper. Hi, my name is Sam from Snakes on Sam, and these are items that I use literally every day caring for my reptiles. All right, let's do this. Let's dive right in. The first everyday item that I find to be a total necessity in my reptile keeping journey is a food processor. Now, I don't use this very much for myself. I bought it for myself and I made hummus in it once, I think. When I'm not making hummus, which is like 99.9999999% of the time, I use this thing to chop up my reptiles' veggies. Reptiles like your mastix lizards, tortoises, even bearded dragons and blue-tongued snakes love the fine chop you can get from this device. The chop is unrivaled, and it's so hard to get that really nice, even, fine chop from just using a knife. The best part about using a food processor to chop up your veggies is that it enables your animal to digest it more easily and also to use those nutrients a lot better. These smaller chops lead to more nutrient absorption, and that is a total plus when you're caring for your reptiles. I love throwing all sorts of leafy greens into my food processor and making a big chop that I can feed over 4 days or so. This makes caring for reptiles so much quicker, so much easier, and gives them a healthy, consistent meal every day. What I love about this device is you can control the size of the chop. So if you pulse it more, you actually get a finer chop, and that's something great for your mastix lizards, bearded dragons, small tortoises. But if you have something like larger, like a sulcata tortoise, if you go ahead and pulse it once or twice, maybe 3 times, you're gonna get a larger chop, and so there'll be bigger bites for a bigger animal. And if you feel like making hummus every now and then for a party, you have a way to do it. My next everyday item that you totally need if you care for reptiles, especially snakes, is a mixing bowl, right? This is so essential. I find mixing bowls to be essential in defrosting rats. I use them all the time because it makes it easy, it's the size for the rat, and also it has a great little spout usually that makes it easy to drain the water and add more water while you're defrosting. When you're preparing snake food, it's so important to be able to get the feeder to the right temperature, and that means switching the water in and out so it gets warmed up fairly quickly and evenly. By using a large mixing bowl to submerge the feeder in, it lets them warm up quicker and also more evenly, and it's just a better experience overall. By using a mixing bowl that's 60 to 70% larger than the feeder, you're gonna cut your warming time in half, and it's gonna be way quicker, and you're gonna move on with your day. And for the health of your snake, and also to set the record straight, it is so important to thaw the animal out fully, making sure the feeder is fully defrosted so there's no icy spots. Also, one thing I always check for when buying things for my reptiles is I always make sure they're dishwasher safe. So I can just throw these in the dishwasher, not worry about them, put them on sanitized mode, and make sure it's good for the next animal that comes in contact with it. Feeder rats can be laden with bacteria, so it's so important when defrosting them that you can go ahead and wash the bowl immediately, make sure that it's sanitized well, so then it can be used for the next feeding. This brings me to the third everyday item that is absolutely essential in caring for my reptiles. It's going to be bowls. Exciting, right? But it's so important. The thing about bowls is that you don't want to use the same ones you use to eat cereal out of. You don't want rat cereal. At least I don't want rat cereal. So instead, I have some designated cheap bowls, whether they're from Goodwill, a thrift shop, or I even have some from my time at OSU, which are little beakers that I use all the time to defrost my rat. I also like to be thoughtful as well because I'm all about reusing and reducing my impact on the earth. So I get these little like yogurt cups at Target, and I eat the yogurt, and the cup is like a glass little cup. It's perfect for pinky mice. So I actually keep those, and I defrost rats right in there. My number 4 essential item is a storage box that is appropriate size for your reptile. Whether you're cleaning, moving, soaking, evacuating, a lot of different things, these can be used time and time again. The thing is that you can't use them as is and just throw your reptile in there and expect it to breathe because, you know, it is plastic. So to make these usable with reptiles, you have to put little holes in them. Do you see those holes? There's a few different ways to get holes into that thick plastic, but the way I prefer is to use a soldering iron. It kind of looks like a torture device a bit, but they're really, really handy. And I got this for something completely unrelated with reptiles. And As you can see, this thing has got many, many uses. It's even started bending a bit. You can purchase one of these at any home store and they're pretty inexpensive and super easy to use. So you're gonna want to put multiple holes in it, make sure there's enough airflow. Don't use these for everyday homes for your animals. These are temporary. Let's say you have to get out of town because there's evacuation or you're moving. These work awesome. I always have one of these for each of my animals ready to go in case I need to evacuate. The number 5 everyday item that I always have on me is electrical tape, and normally it's black. This one's white. Go figure. Electrical tape is my go-to way to secure removable heat mats to enclosures. It's extremely sticky, holds the heat mats well, and is very safe when dealing with electrical items. Electrical tape also comes in a lot of really cool colors like green, red, all that. You're not gonna see it on the bottom of the tank, but if you wanna get festive, I'd say go for it. Reusable heat mats aren't even a hack, but it will save you money in the long run when you're moving from enclosure to enclosure to enclosure. I also find that the 1/2 inch size of electrical tape is way better suited to the sizes of enclosures generally. The full inch size of HVAC tape is a little bit too big on most enclosures to fit it safely on the mat and the enclosure itself. The safest way to apply the tape is the clear sides and not to the black part, which is actually the heating element. Electrical tape gets the job done super well. Number 6, the most important thing in your reptile care arsenal is spray bottles. Cleaning, misting, everything you can possibly need. These guys are a essential. Listen, I know there's plenty of reptile oriented spray bottles for misting, but I am just a big fan in the normal everyday spray bottle to get my enclosures nice and moist. I have all sorts of enclosures, tropical, subtropical. I have a leaching enclosure and I mist them with a spray bottle. I really don't see the value in buying a fancy spray bottle when you can get something great like this for like $1 or $2. Call me cheap. It's effective and it works. That makes me happy. When I'm not misting with the spray bottle, I am cleaning with the spray bottle. I recommend having 3 for cleaning. If you've seen my cleaning video all about how to clean reptile enclosures, I'm gonna link it right up there. This is the best way to get the solution onto your reptile enclosure. I always recommend getting different color spray bottles for different substances so you're not getting them mixed up. It's not a good thing to accidentally mist your leachy gecko with vinegar. Number 7 everyday item that I find completely essential is tile. Yeah, like what you have on your floor probably right now. So tile is a great way to lower the risk of impaction and to keep things super clean because it's not very porous. I always recommend porcelain tile as it comes in so many different colors. It's super durable and you can pick the one that is best for your enclosure design. Tile is super cheap as well. For how much you're getting to cover the floor of your reptile enclosure, it's not very expensive. When I recently redid my leopard gecko enclosure, if you want to see how it looks, link above, it was super affordable, like 99 cents a square foot. And that's me picking the fancy one as well. That's how cheap it is. When it comes time to clean it, you simply just wipe it off. You can spritz it with a little water to make it easier if anything's hard on there, and you're done. It's always good to stock up on extra tile because if one gets a little more soiled than the others, you can swap it out and really deep clean that one and replace it while you're doing that. It's my favorite substrate for leopard geckos, bearded dragons, or any other animal that's an arid or semi-arid reptile. We made it, my friends. We made it to number 8. Of the hacks I've mentioned today, this one's a little bit more controversial in my opinion. It's fake plants. The thing about these is that they're fake, just like the ones you buy from big box pet stores or online, and what really makes them different, I honestly don't know. Sure, there's some you can tell that probably aren't the best for reptiles because there's a crazy smell coming off them. I would avoid those at all costs. But for the most of them you can find at other stores that aren't reptile related, they don't have a smell and they seem fairly clean. For keepers that have had reptiles for years, we have all dabbled with the fake plant. They look great, they come in a variety of colors, and I'm not really sure how they're that much different than the reptile oriented ones. With anything that's not branded for reptiles, I always say you want to be extra careful. There could be chemicals, scents, all sorts of stuff that could be harmful to reptiles, especially in a warm enclosure. So that's why I always like to lean away from using any non-reptile plants in humid and wet enclosures. When it comes to arid and semi-arid enclosures, I definitely dabble with the fake plants that aren't reptile plants. It's important to smell the plants in the store. I know that sounds crazy. You're gonna be a weird plant sniffer in a store. But it's important to smell them to make sure you don't smell a strong odor. Also, I definitely would soak them, wash them really well before adding them to any reptile enclosure. But if you do want to add a little plant life in your enclosure and not deal with live plants, I say go for it. I have actually successfully used these plants right here in enclosures and had no problems whatsoever. So there you have it. Beginners, seasoned pros, these are great tips and great hacks for anyone looking to make their life a little cheaper and a little easier when it comes to caring for reptiles. Reptiles are already so expensive in their caging, their food, their substrate, their decor. I mean, I spent $30 on one piece of cork bark just the other day. So why not just reduce your costs so you can spend money on enrichment and things that really matter, like UVB bulbs that are really expensive. And one last secret hack before I leave you today. Instead of spending your hard-earned money on naturalistic water bowls and food bowls that are pretty hard to clean, try to stock up on some dog bowls and also these really cool plates. And I love feeding my Tauruses. I literally just left with 8 of these because they were such a good deal. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Just keep in mind the health of your animal and always consider whether the materials are suited for your animal. Please subscribe for more information and to join my community. It was so nice talking to you guys today, and I can't wait for the next video. Stay wild and stay curious, my friends.